Standing by.
You all thought I was dead, didn't you? Sadly, no. I am back with another toy review, and there was no waiting on this one. We are looking at Kamen Rider Faiz from S.H.Figuarts. Faiz is actually my favorite Kamen Rider suit so far. O's is nifty, but no competition for the awesome that is Faiz. And as a figure, well, if you've never owned a Figuart, you should really consider getting one if you have any interest in Kamen Rider, because these are fantastic little figures. Faiz has great sculpt, really. I mean, he manages to look more like a guy in a suit than most other Figuarts that I've seen. Because if I slide him over, and I'll bring out one of the earliest molds in Kabuto, you can see that Kabuto, I mean, he looks great. I don't have a problem with Kabuto. But he looks skinny. He looks a touch on the, I believe, Vangelis himself called anorexic side. And Faiz looks a good bit beefier, and I actually like this a little bit more. His proportions are a little bit better for a superhero. So, Faiz, let's see if he can, has wonderful detail, as you'd expect of Figuarts. The giant mono search eye, a little dot of green in the middle. This nicely armored silver chest with the basically his power system are these little red veins. You have his belt, the little cell phone in there, including the little tab that he's supposed to be able to slide in and out. It doesn't actually slide in and out. It's a good muscled arm. He has buttocks that I suppose I wish I had. Very well sculpted thighs. Usually don't get ones this good except for like the Bugmen Kamen Riders, but Faiz has them and they really work. I like it. All the way down to his tiny toes. So, what can Faiz do? Well, Faiz's head can pull a full-blown exorcist. We got a bit of funky chicken. A pretty good up, actually. And a pretty good down. We have 360, no problem at the shoulder. We have double shoulder joint for that wonderful shrugging motion. I'm a hero. I'm depressed. Arm goes out pretty far. Full 360 below the shoulder. Now this is a bit of a problem. For as nice as this bicep muscular look is, it impacts his articulation. So it goes down straight, and I do like that the lines, if you push it down, go completely straight. That's nice. Problem is when you bend it, you're only going to get about that much, because over here the edge of his gauntlet / forearm guard is hitting his bicep. So that's as much as you can bend. He doesn't get the full 180 like many other Figuarts do. It's a little bit annoying, but considering how nice it looks, it's not that bad. In the chest, we've got all kinds of wiggle and stretching. A little bit of rotation down near the waist. So, lots of good waist articulation. The belt, as you can see, wiggles. It's not attached. These little things, and we'll get to that in a minute. His hips go out pretty far. Go forward nice and high. Go back a tiniest little bit. His knees, these do work properly, a nice double joint. It's not the tightest 180, it's not a full 180, but it's a really nice bend. And once again, it's just the shape of his leg gets in the way. We got some really good ankle mobility. We can bend it out there. We can break it, bend it there. It doesn't go forward very much. Again, it's the shape of his armor. Goes back a good bit though. And you get a little bit of toe wiggle. So yeah, Faiz is rocking the house on articulation. Oops. Well, that wasn't as planned. But on the upside, now I know that these little knee pads come off. Hurrah. As with any Figuart, you don't just get Faiz, you get stuff for him to hold, and here is a good bit of it. In actuality, everything on his belt but his belt can also come off. So let's just peel this stuff away. Sorry, Faiz. You know, don't worry. I don't think you'd be attacked by any godforsaken Orphanox while I'm around. I don't own any Orphanox figures. You're safe. So yeah, you can strip his belt down to just that. And that's part of his accessory count. So, we removed the front phone piece. And this is actually, you know, where he performs a henshin. Yeah. You can replace it with one that is actually completely empty for when he's holding his cell phone. Or if one with the cell phone is there, but the little tab, the little slot thing. See it? There we go. See that little round red and yellow thing that the camera can barely focus on? Yeah. He could slide that off if you've never seen Faiz. So you replace his belt front with either of those. That cell phone thing of his can be just a cell phone. Nicely detailed. It can become the standard cell phone gun, which is always nifty. If you've never seen the first time Faiz has used this, you should really check it out because it's kind of hilarious. And you can use the cell phone plus one other little side item to form like a Megatron G1 Transformer style gun with an oversized sniper scope. So the other items we pulled off his belt are this thing, which is supposed to be like a little flashlight. There we go. And to put on a Faiz, you actually take this off his belt and put it aside. And you get the larger one, which is already on his leg. Whoops. And yeah. Much bigger than the one on his belt. Figuarts is infamous for this. Stuff on the belt is never as big as it needs to be for use. And this goes on his leg for his famous energy drill rider kick finisher of doom and death. You can pull this thing off his belt, which is supposed to be like a little digital camera, I believe, and you get an entire fist holding it as a knuckle brace. They just pop this on his arm and he rider punches things into oblivion. And my favorite item is Faiz's energy sword, which, as you can see, is also the handlebar of the Autovagin, which they better be releasing a Figuarts version of, because I want that transforming robot motorcycle of doom. Nicely detailed, got the red. Oh, yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful piece, and it looks great in his hand. Which is where we come to one of my major complaints of the figure. All of these accessories are nice. I could have done without so many versions of the phone. We get shortchanged on hands for once. Faiz has his very powerful masculine fists. He has two kind of calm, open, I'm going to do a pose hands, but only one holding thing hand. And he's got the hand that has the little punching knuckle thing attached, which I'm not complaining about. I wish we could have traded in one version of the cell phone, maybe this version of the cell phone with a gun, with a sight on top of it, for a left holding things hand, so he could dual wield some stuff. But no, we only get one. So, for all these nifty things he can hold, Faiz can only hold one at a time, not two like you'd expect. That's an irritant. Alright, I wish that was not so. So, give me a second. I'll put some weapons on Faiz and give you a better idea how awesome he can be. Well, I was so excited to get this video out that I almost forgot to do my size comparison, so we'll just kind of jack this into one of my thankfully well-placed pauses. So here we have Faiz, and here we have my standard size comparison item, our good friend Skywarp. Faiz is noticeably, well, a shave taller. They're about the same height if you go by the back of this thing on his head, but only when it's up. Push it down, and yeah, it's like Faiz's head to Skywarp's shoulder thruster thingamajigs. And just for something a little different, here is my Retrofire Megazord. No, I don't own any actual Megazords. I hate figures that have no posability. But this guy has some, and it looks pretty awesome. And they're all in about the same size category, so if I put my hand down flat, I hit Faiz first, but just barely. He's just a little taller thanks to his pokey little antenna. Now back to your regularly scheduled program. And here we have Faiz poised and ready to destroy some Orphanok scum. As long as it's not the horse Orphanok, because they got some serious problems to worry out. This is a good but not perfect Figuarts figure. His arm mobility is slightly limited, and we really needed that second holding thing's hand, because it'd be great if he could get his cell phone gun out, even though the explanation in series would be that because he's only got one of those little tab things on his belt, he can only power one weapon at a time. So Faiz isn't actually supposed to be able to use all of his weapons at once. He has to pick and choose. I still leave this on his leg just because it looks right. Would I recommend him? Oh, hell yes. Hell yes. If you like Figuarts, he's at least an average to above average release by Figuarts standards. You got lots of little niggling accessories. You feel a touch shortchanged, but it's appropriate for the character. There's no complaints about his sculpt and his detail. Faiz just looks fantastic for his price. If you've never bought a Figuarts, I would recommend maybe another Agito is one of the best releases that the line's come out with. Any of the Kamen Rider Kabuto molds are very solid, and you get a bit more posability than you will with Faiz. But like I said, I am a huge fan of Kamen Rider Faiz. I was so excited when they announced this figure, and I'm not really disappointed. He looks great. He looks utterly great. I am very happy to own him. Don't be afraid to pick him up. Alright, this is one of the newest generation of Figuarts, and it just shows that the line is going to keep getting more and more interesting, especially with this new body sculpting that just makes him look more of a superhero and a bit less of a skinny dude wearing a bit of armor. So this is Felixman. This is my Faiz. And I'll see you guys real soon, because we need to go back to my bread and butter of these reviews, giant city-destroying robots. See you next time.